Good morning, everybody. We're back. Will Price joined
Nick Castillo.
with Nick
Oh,
Castillo.
I thought I was going to introduce myself.
No, I wanted to introduce you.
I mean, we practiced this 5 times before we went on.
It's been long days, Nick. So, we're back here with TCO 17 live in Buffalo, New York at BNMC, our wonderful sponsor, giving us this great space. Take a quick look around. You can see the Topcoder Arena.
Starting to fill up a little bit.
Yeah, a little more active than the weekend now that everyone's kind of coming back to work in the area.
Right.
People swinging by, checking things out. Starting to fill up.
Looks like we have some customers here too.
Yeah. Customers or challenge sponsors, if you will.
Sponsors, yeah.
Yeah, they put up the prize money for all of the Topcoder competitions.
And even looks like some people from Wipro, our parent company, is here, and some of our own staff has starting to roll in. So it's going to be a full arena for at least, I believe, the next hour or so.
Oh, absolutely. Down at the far end of this shot, you can see the desks, sort of, a little bit through there. Sitting there, we do have 12 designers working right now in the UI design final round. 2 designers over to our right as well on the other side of the arena, making a total of 14 designers who are working right now.
All 14.
On the final. Now, the UI design final is 2 rounds this year. There is 1 round of feedback that will happen tonight. We will then come back and have design finals again tomorrow. And right now, we actually do have an initial ranking, though, of the 14. We have the top 4 of the 14. All of them tied in the top position right now.
Yes, with 28 points. We have Ariane Tonka, Ravi June, Yoki, and Abadavera are currently sitting in the top spot. And that's after round 1.
That's after round 1. So yesterday, the designers did their initial designs.
Do you want to recap what the project's about for those who
Sure.
are just tuning in?
I want to go to one of their screens
Sure.
while we do that, just so you can kind of follow along with what we're saying.
And move off our ugly mugs.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the real reason, right? So we're going to do a live look in right now at Abadavera, one of the co-leaders right now on top, sharing that top 4 position. So currently, the design problem that our designers are tackling is to create these screens for a mobile application to be used by Westminster Charter School. Westminster Charter School is part of a program called Promise Buffalo, which our great sponsor M&T Bank allies with. So M&T Bank is ultimately sponsoring this competition, and what the designers are trying to do is create a mobile application which will link up mentors with students at Westminster Community Charter School. Now, keep in mind, the end user here is going to be the student. The student's going to enter their interests and try and sort through a list of volunteers, people in the community who may be business leaders or educational leaders who are volunteering their time to give back to the community and maybe help out some of these children attain their goals in the future.
That's awesome. Yeah, so, you match people with different or similar interests, rather, and these students you mentioned were like middle school, like end of middle school type?
Yeah, 8th grade. I believe it's 7th, 8th grade, but I think 8th grade is the target age range right now.
So that helps them, again, match up with, someone who's in that field, and they could then tailor their whole high school experience and maybe even into college and know which classes to take, which classes will help them succeed in that field. So, I feel like when I was in high school, I had an idea of what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something with computers, but I never really had that, someone telling me, you should probably be focusing on this elective, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's very valuable input to any students who could use a hand, and the charter school does cater to underprivileged youth as well, who may have need of that positive role model in their life as well. So it's a really great program that they're giving back to, and this app will hopefully ultimately help out a lot of children. So right now we're seeing live design work being done for this by Abadavera, and because should he win, this app will get rolled out to potentially thousands of students.
Exactly. And Abadavera, again, he's defending his crown. He won the whole thing last year at TCO 16. So him being up at one of the top 4 spots right now is really a good sign for him. So, and like you mentioned, the first round was focused on a tablet view. Now, for those who are pretty versed in design and responsive design, you have to know that you could have the same app on a tablet as you could on your mobile device, your phone, let's say. I mean, I guess iPad's a mobile device as well. But it needs to look good. You don't want your images to be overlapping one another, which would happen if you didn't have responsive design. So what they're doing now is creating those screens for the phone. Now, I was told by Adam that they're not really required to have a certain number of screens. Typically, in a challenge, you would expect that, but here they are really just driving toward the experience. So again, the initial student experience and how they're going to match up with a mentor. So that's what their focus is, and now it's up to them to create that user experience with a handheld handheld device. And so, do you want to talk about like the workshop maybe that they did yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely. So last night, all of the competitors, all 14 from the 2 semifinal rounds, got together with representatives from M&T Bank, our sponsor for this competition, as well as Adam Morehead, who has run design on Topcoder for a very long time now, and is probably the best at giving feedback to the designers. So what they did was they all sat together in a room. They went through all of the design work that had been done by all 14 competitors, and they provided feedback. The feedback was open, so designers could see what their competitors did. They could see what the feedback was on their designs, and the goal here is to bring everyone's submissions closer to what the customer is looking for. So today, it's a combination. They're working on phone views, but they're also going to be trying to really bring that user experience together as well, match up the students with the mentors. So you could also even see if someone's feedback wasn't what they wanted and they think they're too far off, they might try and put together tablet and phone screens and restart from scratch. It's hard to say, and we're going to do live look-ins on every one of these competitors right now.
Well, actually, yeah, I mean, the first round is done, the whole tablet thing, so they don't really have to go back to tablet, actually. So if they could just reimagine what their tablet design could have been and apply it to the mobile version of it. So they could start from scratch with their whole design, but they would only have to do it for the mobile screen size.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then we, again, are going to have a third round. It will be related. We're all working on the same project, but it will have another focus. So again, here is the initial student experience with the app. Who knows what the next theme will be tomorrow.
We've now transitioned over, taking a live look in at Yoki, one of the co-leaders. So far we've seen Abadavara, Ariane Tonka, and Yoki, all of them in competition for that top spot right now. So little look in here, looks like he's got opened up Sketch. We're seeing a lot of the imagery that he was working with yesterday, so not sure exactly what his feedback was, and it's going to be a little tough to tell. We're going to have to give it a couple minutes to really let that all come through. But this is Yoki from Indonesia.
I was looking at the screens a little earlier, and it was really cool. I don't have too much familiarity with Sketch. I was talking to actually one of our UI prototype competitors, Thomas Kranitsas, and he does the UI prototype, which means he takes these designs and converts them to clickable applications. So
real working code.
Exactly, real working code. And he says the designs that come from Sketch are way easier to work with than the designs that come from Photoshop. I was looking at Yoki actually creating his screens, and they had some really cool features. There was this one feature where he must have had some sort of Shutterstock plugin, and a window just comes out, and you can search right in that window and pull up a list of you know, they give you a preview of all these different types of images that you can use within your app, and you can just drag it right in. You don't even have to go to Shutterstock.com. It's all built into this app for you to grab.
Nice. So it sounds like there's good plugin library available for it.
Right.
We've now transitioned over, taking a look in at Spur from Venezuela.
See what Spur's up to.
Yeah, it looks like he's just catching up on the forums and the specification. If you're seeing that right now, it says first place is $2. That's not true. The first place, his competition is $10,000. That's why it's the placeholder value. I want to make sure that everyone knows the stakes here are not that low.
No. Yeah, I don't think we would have this kind of turnout if that was the case. Yeah, $10,000 on the line for these designers. So they are definitely working hard. They're working fast. If you tuned in yesterday, you probably saw some of our live feed of the marathon match, and you're going to see a little more action happening here. There's not going to be a lot of still mouse work.
Mm-hmm. So the round this morning is 3 hours long, Nick. They started at 8:30.
They started about around 8.
They started. Sorry, it's a 3.5 hour round. That's my mistake. They started at 8. So there's about 45 minutes remaining in the round. So what we're seeing is the amount of work that's been completed in just over 2 hours. 2 hours 45 minutes. If you caught it a moment ago when Spur was zoomed out, you might have noticed that he has at least 5 screens for the phone completed at this point, and is now going through and refining those screens. You can see each one of these is its own unique screen. So
isn't that amazing though? Like
huge volume of work.
Oh
right
my
there
gosh! And there are similar competitions like this for designers on the Topcoder platform. Typically, they are called Roxas or Luxes, where designers may get around 24 hours or so to complete a challenge, and everyone is notified beforehand. At least like maybe a week beforehand, and they're like, we're gonna have a Lux coming up, be prepared. So these guys actually will go with no sleep and design for 24 hours, getting everything pixel perfect. Those design competitions, their rewards are pretty big too. So we have a lot of people submitting on those.
Yeah, usually more prize placements on those types of competitions.
That's another thing, yeah.
As well as higher values than you might see on a typical design competition. And that has really taken off over the past year and a half, I would say. These Rux competitions, we see more and more of them come in. They've really resonated with people who are sponsoring challenges and have these design needs. So we're seeing a lot more of them. That's really given these designers a lot of additional experience that helps when TCO comes around.
And are you aware of like any of the types of customers that run these Lux challenges, like what they're receiving, what their experience is like with it? Have you heard anything? I try to.
It's always positive because they almost always come back for more.
That's true.
One of the things that I have noticed over the time seeing Roxas come in is usually we try and control the scope because of the short time period in which the designers are competing. But almost every time the designers go above and beyond, just trying to stand out from the crowd and get into that top position. I don't think there's been a single time that I've run a Rux and then come back and showed it to the customer and they're not wowed.
Right.
By the amount of work that gets accomplished by it,
and
in the way that
24
everyone
hours.
goes above and beyond.
Right? In a short amount of time.
A Rux in general can be 24 hours. That's usually going to go for 48 or 72 hours. We also do the Luxes, which is the 24-hour design.
Maybe I'm thinking about the Lux then. Yeah.
It's all right. They sound very similar.
Yeah. Rapid UX is what R stands for.
Yes. And then live user experience is what the Lux is. A little less common nowadays. The Rux has really taken over that niche on the Topcoder platform. So you're going to see a lot more Ruxes than Luxes. But the Lux was originally a live event where you would actually have someone like an Adam Morehead, who will be joining us around 11 a.m. on the broadcast this morning.
Yeah, about 10 minutes.
Yeah, he would go to an event and he would run a workshop with people at an event. They could pull all those ideas together, run a 24-hour competition, and then show those results the following day, showing that feedback process. And it was just a really condensed design competition that they did live in front of a crowd, basically.
Yeah, didn't they have
to really show people how it works?
Like there was a crowd, they had multiple screens with people actually developing live in front of, or designing
Some.
right in front
Yeah, sometimes we've done that.
Yeah.
So with one of our customers, John Hancock,
Okay.
where I've been working for the past couple of years, we actually set up in the lobby, and some of the competitors who you actually see competing here, Spur being one of them, Ariane Tonka, were kind enough to share their screens with us, and we actually put it on screens in the lobby, so people who wanted to see, what does design look like when
Right.
you move this fast in this manner, could walk over and see it. Spur even gave us a time-lapse video of him doing his design, and I must say that guy has a very clean workspace.
Wow. I thought I heard a comment about that as well, where, even just watching live, not the time-lapse version, but they thought that you guys were speeding up the video, but that wasn't the case.
No, they just move that fast.
As you can see, on the screens you're watching right now, wasting no time. They probably heard the announcement that they had an hour left, and they're like, all right, time to book it. What are the what do I need to accomplish that will, help me out and get the most points?
So we've moved over now, checking out the work being done by Zazula Aziz,
Okay.
another competitor from Indonesia. So you can see
He's got about like 6 screens too.
yeah, lots of a bit lighter of a palette here. So we've seen some of them going with the very heavy blue, which is part of the branding of the
Right.
Westminster School, going with a kind of more Apple design look here.
Yes, it looks like that's what he's doing. It almost would say, you have your typical news feed type look here. And, it's all about using the right design language as well. So if you're developing a potential iPhone app, you want to use the Apple design language. Make everything seem consistent with how Apple usually presents its icons and its buttons. So these members know that though, and to be successful at Topcoder as a designer, you need to understand what you're designing for and how to actually, design a successful.
Yeah, and since today's focus is so heavy on user experience, one of the things that you might notice, especially on Zazula Aziz's design here, is that he is focusing on tried and true user experience techniques. A feed where you can refresh by swiping down is ubiquitous across mobile applications nowadays. It's something that it's easy to pick up, it's easy to understand, and most people have experience with it at this point.
Right.
So sticking to the tried and true is part of his approach here as well.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to see and keep an eye on these different competitors, as some of them might try to go outside of the box a little bit and be a little innovative, be a little more creative. How, maybe not use the typical way of, going through an app. You would assume that setting a particular setting, you would maybe do a switch, but maybe you would do a wheel instead. It might be easier, it might be more interactive, who knows? So some people could take risks here, and it would be interesting to see which one of these competitors will do that.
So now we've swapped over, taking a look in at Ariane Tonka, who I mentioned a moment ago.
Right.
So it looks like Ariane here is trying to figure out the way he wants the student to onboard. So onboarding being your initial experience in the application. What's it going to look like the first time you download, install, and start working through that. So here it looks like they're looking ahead. This particular user is going to have a try to find a dream job here.
Right.
So originally, though, a moment ago,
Right.
he had it where the user would type it in, and now it looks like he's had kind of a change in his perspective and wants to go with something that's going to be a little more visual and focused on having them tap on what they want or look for a category of what they want. A little look at the Topcoder community Slack right there, a place where our Topcoder community members can speak to one another in real time,
Right.
managed by our very own Nick Castillo.
Hello. So what I'm gathering from here is it looks like he's using the icons that he's used from the tablet and transferring them over to his iPhone app or whatever mobile device he's designing for.
Well, consistent iconography is going to be very important
Right.
between the applications, and that obviously means that he had positive feedback on his icons, because if he didn't, he
Right.
would have tossed them out. That definitely gives him a bit of an advantage today because his palette is ready to go, like a painter. You know, all of his paints are poured and mixed and ready to go, and that saves him a lot of time.
Absolutely.
As he goes and continues working through. So why don't we make another change over here? Let's take a look at how about Conlon.
Conlon.
That just takes a second here to come up. So Conlon right now going through reviewing the specification. Now back over in Photoshop, putting together his vision for this.
All right, well, look at this. He's using, I haven't seen this yet, but he's got a little percentage there. So he's actually showing you that perhaps the developers would create some sort of algorithm or use an algorithm in order to determine whether or what percentage a student and a mentor is matched.
Mm-hmm. So this is this match right here is going to be a picture. I believe that stock photo up there represents the mentor, not obviously not the student. So the student being the user is swiping through here, looking for the mentor. They see 80%. 80% match. So maybe there might be some sort of machine learning going on in the background. Hard to say. I don't. He's probably just thinking someone else will figure out that part. I'll just figure out how to guide them through it.
And that's smart because you have to be, as a designer, as creative as you can. Let the developers worry about that. If they can make it work, even better. So it looks like he's also let's see, she can guide for. So it looks like he's using tags as well.
Categories really.
Categories,
expertise. So if you're looking for career as a dental hygienist, clearly this person's going to rank higher on that match for the particular person there.
The way I'm seeing it now, I don't know if he's going to change it up a little later, but they almost look like they are buttons that are unclickable. So like disabled buttons, maybe that might not get him, might score him a little lower, but we'll see if he changes it up and makes it a little more noticeable as a tag.
Alternatively, he could have a different vision where maybe those are clickable, and you can tap that and get a list of all the mentors for that particular category. It's hard to say. Generally, they will provide a quick map to sort of tell you how the interactions will work out going forward.
I do like what he was using there. Let's see if he goes back.
Yeah. So
this part is pretty cool because I kind of like this idea of there's a student section. How many students has this mentor provided their expertise for? Perhaps that's what he's thinking and wants to bring into the experience for the application. Maybe it's something that the Westminster school has not thought of yet. But this could be a very, very cool feature that they might appreciate.
It could also make it more appealing to the students who might see that other people have gone through this experience, and they won't be the first, and they won't be alone as they run through that. And who knows, maybe they'll even see their friend on there and say, "Hey, worked out for them." I'd like to talk to this person as well.
I'm wondering if anyone's going to add like a rating too, like this mentor was really good for me, like that type of stuff too.
Yeah, totally.
But we'll see.
Yeah, and let's continue our tour around here. We're going to go check in on Weeba.
Weeba. At least that's how I say it. He hasn't corrected me yet, so.
Yes. I'll say it 10 times fast.
Weeba. Let's see what he's doing. A barista class. I like this. This is fun.
Yeah, I know. I could use
Although, are you gonna
that right now this morning. A little barista class. So yeah, it looks like he's got it broken down into the food and services industry. And then so he's taking a different approach here. So where everyone else is focused so much on the mentor onboarding process, Weeba seems to be sticking with this concept of classes.
Interesting.
And you can see that he's not. We saw this yesterday, and Weeba didn't abandon it. So he must have had some positive feedback on it. So the focus today is on that onboarding experience and matching between a mentor and a mentee. We can call them. And what Weeba is doing seems to be kind of grouping the mentees into groups and sending them to classes, so you can maybe maximize the amount of value that you get from a single mentor. And focus it on the particular area of interest.
Yeah, that is interesting. Was it say attendee? Okay.
Yeah, so there's 15 students attending this class, so it's almost event-driven more than relationship-driven in this view of the application.
Right.
As mentioned, there was that feedback session, so he must have had something positive come out of that because he's still running with that.
Or perhaps they mentioned something that they would have liked to see, and now he's like, okay, maybe I'll focus more on that. It looks like he has a lot of different sections here. Cool.
Yeah, lots of screens developed. We see it selecting tags. We see some charting up in the upper right corner there briefly for a second as he works through his Photoshop files here. Also, 3 hours. 3 hours, Nick. All of that work done.
That's
he
amazing.
had 0 phone views completed. It definitely helps that he didn't have to abandon his work that he did yesterday on the tablet view.
I don't know. I'm just curious, though. Like, for me, it looks a little wider than a typical phone would suggest, and I'm wondering if he essentially just turned the tablet view portrait way, but it could just be me.
Yeah, it could just be a perspective thing from the way you're looking at it. I think it's looking pretty good. I do find it interesting that no one's developing screens specifically for the new iPhone, the iPhone X.
Oh, right.
I don't blame them either. It's, I've actually read some interesting design blogs about the new
really?
device,
Well,
where they comment that the two top parts on the either side of the camera actually take away from the designer's ability to make beautiful designs.
Interesting.
You're losing symmetry hurts you a lot there. Sorry, that was a total tangent.
Or maybe they'll just have to adapt and it'll become the new norm, and who knows.
All right, we're going to make a change over now. Take a look in at Carm.
Yeah, what's Carm up to? He's using Sketch, it looks like.
Yeah, Carm in Sketch with a lighter view here. Feel like my pupils need to adjust now. Got the brighter colors in here.
I was also told that Sketch is only available on Mac.
Yes, it's one of the hurdles, though. Most of the designers compete on Topcoder do seem to use Macs, but don't let that discourage you. There are great tools available on all platforms for design work.
Right.
So taking a look in now at what Carm is doing, looks like he's on that introduction screen. So looks like someone has selected at this point one of their interests or desired careers, a social media influencer. So Nick, they want to be like you.
Social media influencer. I don't do as much of that anymore, but Jesse's doing a great job of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it looks like they're providing kind of almost a library of information on this particular career path. So a little extra maintenance, maintaining all this data, but it can help someone really understand what they're getting into before they match up with a mentor, which definitely has value to the mentor who's going to get someone who understands what they're doing.
And it looks like we have a comment coming in on Facebook Live. We have a Julie Andri who says, "Go Indonesia!"
You have a lot of choices to choose from. Indonesia well represented at the design finals this year, as in previous years. Great community there of very, very talented designers.
And we got Farjar, who is actually here. I guess he may be watching from the hotel. I don't see him around here, but he says, "Go designers!" And yes, they are. They are going, and they have 30 minutes left in this round. So we'll be seeing some finalization coming up here, closing in, and getting everything pixel perfect.
All right, checking out now Universo, another participant from Indonesia. Getting some charting. So we haven't seen much charting to this point, which is, we caught a little glimpse of it a few minutes ago, but seeing how you can report back on your progress. So maybe this has some sort of gamification system involved. It's a little too soon to tell just based on this, but giving feedback to the user is obviously going to be important as well. So Universo really tackling that approach right now in his designs. And I'm going to do a little rapid fire because we do want to see how all 14 of these competitors are doing. So with that, we will make the change over to Yiming. So we can see here Yiming with a lot of colors. We're looking at the rainbow here, Nick.
Oh, wow, look at this. Roy G. Biv.
All right.
Is it actually red? I guess it's orange, yellow, blue.
Yes, those are colors, Nick.
I'm wondering if it's all the colors, the Roy G. Biv colors.
Well, then I guess I'm the one who's not in the know. So you can see a little bit of a palette here, color guide that is being worked on. Once again, another sketch user here, Yiming. So looks like we are kind of still going with a wizard approach here to figure out what areas of interest these students have. And we have
Here's his barrage of icons here.
yes, looks like he's got some preset and ready to go.
And that is not necessarily an advantage, but this is why the change has been made for designers to bring their own machines to this competition so that they have all of the tools that they need, that they're used to working with for the competition.
Yes.
Typically, in earlier TCOs, they would have to use our machines, and they would have to
They'd be on
set it up.
Windows.
They'd be all be on Windows.
You can notice here that pretty much everyone that you're viewing is a Mac user, so it was a big adjustment. And and to be frank, it was a pain point for these guys. Something that we have resolved, and not on top of that, now we grab all their screens too.
Exactly. It's perfect.
All right. I have good news, Nick.
What's that?
We've looked at everyone so far,
That's awesome.
except for one person who had a couple technical issues, and we don't have his stream, but we do want to give a big
Unfortunately.
shout out to one of the co-leaders right now, Ravi June, hailing from India. We can't show his screen, but we're thinking of you, Ravi. I mean, you're not watching, but
Well, we do have his screen up on someone's laptop as a Google Hangout. It's definitely a hack, but it's working. If you were here live, you could see it, but unfortunately, we are unable to pull his feed in. But hopefully, he's rocking it. He is rolling it and is ready to go at 11:30. So hopefully, we'll
Yes.
be able to see something in the next round.
yes, 27 minutes currently remain in this design round. Coming up later today, we will have the first to finish competition, round 2 of the algorithm semifinals, where 3 more algorithm writers will advance to the finals. We will be joined by Scott Wu during that algorithm semifinal round for some insider analysis. Scott getting out of the first round last night, coming in second place in the semifinal round, making his way to the finals. So that will be very exciting. We'll have all that later today as well.
Yeah, we'll talk to him about his experience with his round, as well as get his commentary on the round 2.
And we'll find out what his Zuckerberg experience is like as he leaves Harvard to start his own company.
Exactly. Maybe our viewers will get some tips and perhaps maybe follow the same path. We'll see.
All right. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back in a few minutes with Adam Morehead. We'll leave you with Abhidavara, one of the current co-leaders in the work that he is doing. And we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you have any comments, please leave them, and we'll get back to you as soon as we get back on. All right, we're back, and we're once again today joined by Adam Morehead, who is running our design competition here at TCO 17. Adam, how's it going?
Good. It's great. It's going great.
It
That's
sure
awesome.
looks it. We just took a live look at every one of the screens to see how everyone's doing, talked a little bit about their approaches,
Okay.
But we could definitely use some insight with that designer
Absolutely.
eye. But Adam, do you want to talk a little bit first about the workshop last night that you led with these designers?
Yeah. So last night for 2 hours we had a workshop with M&T Bank and the designers, and this was meant to be, and it was an interactive workshop where the designers initially asked M&T Bank some questions about the student, questions about the mentors, just questions about the overall kind of goals of the application, questions that might have been brewing throughout the challenge and they didn't want to ask in the forums, or they didn't really get from the spec. So it was great to actually have the customer there to ask those questions and get kind of that live feedback from them. And they were able to get more insight into where the school is, the neighborhood that it's in, the type of students that are there, and the ability of this application to help them in the future. So it was a great interactive experience with that. We also, throughout the conversation, depending on the topic we talked about, we pulled up different designs. So when we started talking about dashboards, when we started talking about the onboarding journey of a student into this application, we talked about mentors and their profiles, we actually pulled up different designs that were kind of resonating or doing different concepts. So it was a great kind of flow of talking about this designer thought about this, and this designer had this other idea. What do you think about this? And the customer was able to react to that and talk to the designers of like, this is a good idea, I think this would make sense, or this really wouldn't make sense in this kind of application, things like that. So,
But you didn't go through like each person.
We did go through each person.
Oh, you did that too.
But we did it in more, it was great, we did it in a flow of like, of the conversation of where certain things stood out. So it wasn't just like, hey, I'm gonna go pick on you.
Right.
Like, hey, let's talk about your design, and we'll talk about your design. It was more of a flow, like, so, and at the same time, what was great about that is that it wasn't like I was picking them and ranking them in the conversation. It was more about, we were just talking about them. It was great. You know?
Did you guys find any common threads that the designers really had nailed yesterday, or anything that they had missed the mark on?
Yeah, actually, great question. So it's the whole, what we would call is an onboarding process, or what is the initial engagement with the student. So a student has this application, they log in, register, log in. Now what? I have my dashboard, or can the application actually ask me some questions? Like, what do you like to do? What are your, do you like technology? Do you like games? Do you like, so you can actually self-select, and then the idea would be an algorithm in the background that is maybe then associating mentors to you based on the things you like.
Oh, you're seeing something like that.
Right?
Yeah, we absolutely
probably
saw
saw
that
that.
in some of the designs
And
today.
then what we saw was like 2 or 3 versions of that. So what was really cool was that in the workshop, we talked about how can this apply more to teenagers. So as professionals now, we go, oh, hey, I'm in the technology field, or I'm in a healthcare field, I'm in, right? Well, teenagers don't really, I don't think they think that way, right? So in this kind of application, it's more like I like to use my hands to create things. I like to do Legos, right? Or I like, what is it you're interested in doing? What are those kind of questions? So then you can tie that into potential industries.
I see.
So asking them as opposed to what is it you want to do, but what are you interested in?
So we saw an interesting design earlier where there were different career options, and the designer, I'm trying to remember who it was, forgive me that I don't, but they were putting together almost a guide. You know, what is this career? How do they make money doing this?
Yep.
And how does all that work? So that's part of that onboarding process is education, and then it also helps narrow people down to something they really want to do.
Exactly. Well, so part of that is also informing them of what's needed. Right, so there may be a career path that you're interested in, but there's a lot of people in that career path, and obviously it may be harder to get into. But there may be something that still requires using your hands, or something that is also interesting to you, and there's a greater need. There's actually probably more of an opportunity there. So that's kind of what they're going with. That is like inform the student of opportunity, but also the need, and bring in data to support that.
Right. I actually appreciated one of the competitors actually had a percentage match that this person could possibly have with the mentor, and it might have been the same competitor, I wasn't sure, but what other students had use that mentor, and I was like
Exactly.
thinking maybe they might include a rating somewhere. We
Yep, we do. We saw those. So it's almost the idea of like, hey, this mentor has high marks.
yeah.
One of the things that really became clear in the workshop and what we keep stressing is, yes, this is like a mentor coach application. Okay, so in a generic sense, you can say that. But what it really is, it's about connecting students with coaches that have a similar experience. They grew up here, right? They have a similar background. So not only can they coach them in a career, but they can coach them in life.
Cool.
Like, how can they get over that hurdle today, right? What is that thing, that problem that we maybe we don't even know, but just in life, that this coach through this application could help get them through. Yes, it's tied to career choices or it's tied to success later in life, but just in your day-to-day struggle, how can this coach help you? And that's one of the key things in this, is to be able to have that type of relationship.
Okay. Now we've been seeing like these designers, they are like super fast as they are, creating their designs, and we know that they only have about like 3.5 hours to do that. Now,
3 hours.
3 hours to do it. For potential designers that may be watching, do they need to also be able to design fast in order to participate on the Topcoder platform?
Yeah, so obviously we do rapid design challenges here at Topcoder. I call them rapid user experience challenges.
We spoke a bit about them, but I think you can give us that better perspective.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great experience to kind of rapidly transpose your thoughts into high fidelity graphics, and designers around the world, Topcoder designers around the world, do a really good job of doing that. I like to say it's almost a modern wireframing information architecture technique, right? It's just, hey, how quickly can I transfer this and actually convey what I mean? And there's obviously a skill in using the tool, right? So some designers are faster than others. And we even saw it here. Some of them that probably are excelling right now, they actually spend a good half hour sketching before they even jumped in.
Oh, interesting.
So they sketched
on notepads?
On notepads, right? And then they instantly started transforming that in because they have a great sense of grid, a great sense of design style, and then they want to be able to convey this across. Now, in this specific challenge, some of the feedback was around, well, we need to make this friendly for teenagers. So a lot of stuff we do at Topcoder is more corporate, more enterprise. So understanding that there needs to be some fun or the engaging elements of this, and you'll see that in some of the designs and some of the color usage and imagery usage of how it's becoming a little more friendly to kind of this teenager audience. But yes, to the speed question, not all challenges are fast. But we do promote this element of speed and delivery for customers and rapid user experience designing. And the community has responded really, really well to it. It's like it's a thing. It's an event. It's what Topcoder does.
It's a competitive platform. So, can you do it fast? Can you do it well?
Yeah, and you do it well and fast.
Well, fast.
So we've been scrolling through the screens of
Look at
some of the leaders here. So we've looked at Abadavara, we've looked at Yoki, and now we're looking at Ariane Tonka. And so these three, along with Robbie June, were tied in the top position after the first round of feedback. There will be another round of feedback today. No eliminations, but more feedback coming in. Are we expecting updated rankings later tonight?
Yeah, so tomorrow morning probably. But yeah, we will be. So we have a workshop from 2 to 4, and it looks like we may have some students here to actually provide some real feedback as to like if this makes sense or resonates with them. So that's going to, I mean,
that'll be a first.
You can't ask for better feedback than the actual users of the application, right? So that's going to be awesome. And then the judges and myself will get together after that, and we will start putting our initial scores together. So we will score today, and we will score tomorrow. We actually have a scorecard this year, and maybe tomorrow I can talk about that scorecard.
Cool.
That would be excellent.
But one of the items that one of the items in that scorecard is progress. So this understanding of have the designers progressed from round to round? Have they taken leaps? Have they understood this feedback? Right. A lot of the scorecard is based on kind of traditional design. What's your navigation structure, and have you thought through this concepts, originality, things like that. But the one thing is going to be progress. So we'll be able to kind of understand that what we've seen today, and then of course what the feedback from the workshop this afternoon and what they interpret and do in the final round tomorrow.
Now, this is one of the most subjective competitions on Topcoder.
Yes.
And how is it typically received from designers? Do they just take it like, yes, I agree, like that?
Oh, no.
Beat me out?
No,
or,
no,
oh,
no.
is there a lot of why didn't I win type thing?
No, when everyone arrived, I got a lot of one-on-one. Hey, what about this challenge, Adam? What happened in this one? Why did I do well in this one? And,
well, that's tough when you have subjective challenges.
No, but that is. But the designers learn. Look, they learn. The top designers here, the top 14 that are here, and we obviously have more beyond the 14 in the community that just weren't able to achieve the points this year.
Right.
But they all know that there's a certain element to winning, right? And it's capturing one, what the customer is looking for, what's the design problem that they're solving for. So focus, right, and being able to deliver on that focus. We see where designers don't do well is when they deviate from that. Right? It's like, oh, hey, I'm going to assume something that the customer wants, and the customer doesn't want that. So what we teach a lot is don't assume, ask questions. Always ask questions. Get the definition, get it from the customer, understand where they're coming from. And if you deliver on that, you're probably going to rank in the top, right?
That's a pretty hot tip there for all you potential designers looking to compete in the TCO and future TCOs.
Yeah, so as part of that, some of them realize that they will not win, but they also realize from their winnings, the times that they have won, what it takes, and they tend to realize that they might have missed something because they might have taken 4th, 5th, 6th, and it's because they missed one of those things or they didn't get it clarified.
Okay. Now, I've seen on Ariane Tonka a little bit earlier, I wanted to get back to that. For some of us who aren't very design-minded, so I think he was using either Sketch or Photoshop, but he was bringing things into Marvel. How is Marvel
So he's actually
part of this?
He's going a little above and beyond. We actually didn't ask for Marvel this time just because it's 3 hours, but he's at the end of, we're here 5 minutes ago, and he's adding it into Marvel, so it makes it easier for us to judge.
For anyone who's not familiar, Adam, what is Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay, so Marvel app is a UK-based company that is a prototyping tool. So we're able to upload our images into that tool, and it shows it in like an iPad or an iPhone or an Android device, and we're able to provide feedback inside that. So a third-party tool, third-party prototyping tool.
And that allows you to kind of click between the different screens as well. So you get not a real user experience, but a semblance of one.
Well, it's great because we can share it with our customers, and they can go in and actually click on an area and say, change this, update this, improve this. So it allows for that instant feedback with our designers. And I can actually pull it up on my phone and be able to swipe through and look at those images.
Oh, that's really cool. And especially for like customers as well. What are your thoughts on how customers react to this sort of competition? How we go about providing
They're generally blown away by the speed,
okay,
right, and the breadth of concepts. So one of the things we talk about here is for a designer is look at the overall user experience, think about the user, and what concepts, modern technology and things like that can improve this user experience. Can we bring cognitive into it, right? How can we keep it from a 5-step and turn it into a 3-step, right? Like what are the things that we can simplify and create a better user experience, and what are the tools, technology available to do that? And a lot of customers talk about that and they're thinking about that. We're actually doing it. We're actually showing them that in a very fast way.
I like that, like being able to be the designer and imagine it a certain way, and like let the developers figure out how to actually make this work. But I'm going to design it so that it's open to that kind of feature.
That being said, this type of challenge, being the speed, this isn't something that we're going to go build tomorrow. Right. There will be a follow-up refinement challenge to actually say, here are the rest of the screens. Is this technology possible, right? Because we don't necessarily always want to hand it off to the developers and just say, go make magic happen.
Yes. At the same time, the designers can sometimes push the developers to think about things in new ways, and it's this kind of nice symbiotic relationship that you have going on there. I know I certainly see some designs come in from the Topcoder community that I say, I never thought of it that way before, and we're able to deliver on that. And then sometimes we see things that are very pie in the sky, and we need to take a step back and look at what's realistic. But,
you know what I like about that is also our ability at Topcoder to run a development challenge to see if that's possible.
Right, yeah.
Like,
Call
just
it
an idea,
bake-off or,
bake-off or
ideation.
some kind
Yes,
of
yeah.
ideation within that technology, just to
Yeah.
say, hey, can we do this before we actually start building it? Which is something I always like to tell our customers, like, give it a shot, try it.
Yeah, it's quick proof of concept. It take a week
Stop.
and
Stop talking about it. Let's go try it, right?
yeah. Yeah, you can have someone inside do research and look up blog posts, or you can have something that you can hold it, well, not hold in your hand because it's code, but something that you can click on your screen and see it go.
Speaking of that, this afternoon we're going to have the UI prototype. So now we'll actually be able to start seeing that whole the hold, right? We'll actually see the design conversion into HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So I'm excited for that challenge.
So Adam, since we have you here, can you tell us a little bit about the UI prototype challenge?
No.
No, not
secret?
yet. Not yet. Not once.
No,
until it
actually,
starts.
actually, I can if anybody's actually watching, or from here, the UI prototypers watching. But
Yeah.
I did give.
We need to preserve the integrity.
No. I gave a hint in the UI in the design newsletter this week. So I've been dropping hints in the newsletter.
Okay.
So for anyone out there, if you ever,
So if they missed the newsletter, what would they have seen in the newsletter?
So we're going to be working on a responsive mobile application, and the view that we're going to be working on is mobile.
Okay.
So they'll have to be creating the HTML, CSS, JavaScript with that. And we are going to be providing them assets through Zeppelin. So Zeppelin is a third-party tool that allows us to upload our graphics into that, or the screens, and it helps slice and create the different graphic elements and CSS and hex colors to quickly be able to start development.
Oh, that's cool.
So instead of, typically we ask the HTML prototypers UI prototypers to take the Photoshop or Sketch file and convert that on their own. We've actually given them the assets this year.
That's
and this is something that we want to integrate moving forward in the UI prototype, that we start using tools like this to give the assets to the UI prototypers, so they're not spending a lot of time creating those.
That sounds really cool.
All right. Is there a customer sponsor in this competition this year?
There is not. But we're taking a design that we ran. So it's from a Lux challenge that we did a couple weeks ago at the Gartner conference.
Okay, excellent. Cool. So stay tuned for that this afternoon. You'll see some responsive design. And actually, I just had one more question on the UI prototype. Will they be integrating any front-end frameworks? Will they be targeting React or Angular in their work, or are they focused on just the HTML? CSS?
Yeah, so we're keeping it simple. Our co-pilot wanted to use React, but not all the UI prototypers are up to speed on React yet.
Okay.
So because I didn't announce that in time, or actually say we'd be doing React, we're sticking with HTML5 and maybe just like Bootstrap or a responsive framework. But they will be able to pick to select that. So.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, it looks
Looking
like
forward to that.
we have about 3 minutes left before it ends, so
I
I'm
need to
sure
get
you
back.
have to get back.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you again tomorrow
Thank
on the
you.
stream for the final round of design at Topcoder Open 2017.
Or maybe a little later for prototype. Who knows?
Oh, that's true. He's a man wearing many, many hats right now.
Absolutely. Well, it was
All
fun.
right.
A lot of great information from Adam about the design competition. A little more than what we were able to provide. But
Yeah. So always good to get that input and that firsthand experience in the workshop as well. So I think with that, Nick, let's take a quick break.
Sure.
Right now, the designers are wrapping up their work, so we are going to be on short hiatus for a couple minutes. Stay tuned. We'll come back as everyone gets ready for the first to finish competition this afternoon, as well as algorithm semifinals. There are some folks kind of sliding into their desks right now, getting ready for that competition. So with that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few minutes from Buffalo.
sounds good.
All right.
See you soon.
right, we're back in Buffalo, New York at TCO 17 at BNMC. I'm joined by the Slayer of Dragons, Chris. Oh no, sorry, Sam.
Oh no! Call back to the
Sam
welcome
Marazzo,
ceremony.
Thank you for joining us today.
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So Sam, you want to tell us a little bit about your job here? What you do at BNMC?
The camera. So yeah, basically I'm the Chief Innovation Officer. Basically, we are here to not just innovate in the title, but really reach out to the community, getting coding and math cool again, and working with either schools or even universities to say, hey, this Topcoder community is really cool, and hackathons are great, but this is a different bar and a different level. So we're really building an awareness.
Excellent. So, a little bit about the space, in case anyone doesn't know. Where we're working right now is usually a co-working space. It's been totally transformed for this. How has it been seeing this change over the course of the past week, and now its current state?
It's at, right now co-working space is everyone's on top of everybody. They have this like this collision approach where you just kind of run into each other. I like the flow, but I don't want this to go back. I love the way it looks. It's like, can we just keep this here forever? Because co-working space is great, but it's at the end of the day, there's no semblance of order. But this is very orderly. The space looks great. Everyone's really collaborating, and I just think it's just awesome.
I love one of the quotes that I heard, which was that we brought more stuff in than what we brought out of this this arena. So
yet it somehow feels more open.
Oh yeah, it's true. We brought a big carpet in. That's for sure. Remember the carpet?
That thing was heavy.
Yeah, we really
carpet fiasco.
Little carpet, but the carpet.
But everyone's wondering. Yeah, everyone's on it. They're enjoying it.
They're really relaxed. I think it's got a really. I like the vibe here. Everybody's just really relaxed, and there's a lot of space for them to really, when you need to be alone or need some kind of a quiet time, they have it. And if you want to collaborate, you have it. So it's just the space has really worked out.
Yeah, we appreciate you having us here. It's we were getting a lot of compliments from the members. They like it because it's not too big, but it's not too small either. It's the right size. It's the Goldilocks three bear scenario, right?
It's
just right. Just right.
So Sam, you've had quite the journey with Topcoder over the years. You've been around to quite a few TCOs at this point. Do you mind telling us a little bit about how you got introduced to Topcoder?
Yeah, the journey started, 2004, where I met this guy, the founder, Jack Hughes, and Jack was a guy who had this vision of basically how do I find a resource or a developer that is the best in the world or is ranked, and we were working with companies in different parts of the world, in India and China, and we felt that there was a better way, and a better way to develop, the lines of code and a product or an outcome. So when I heard about this model in 2004, I brought it back to Praxair and I said, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, they're only going to charge you for outcomes. It's,
Wow.
It's amazing. And they said, I mean, that's just like some kind of like, are you like smoking something? I'm like, no, this is the new way. This is happening. I didn't know what it was called. It wasn't called freelancing back then. It was just a new way to do, a new approach.
Right.
So they basically, the attorney said it can't be done. We're not going to let this happen. IP is so important. Like, they're non-core apps. I mean, they're not, running our business. So after a long journey of trying to get the attorneys to approve it, never approve it, they finally said, Sam, you got this one, but just really safe applications. It's nothing too crazy. And 2 years later, I built the biggest project for Praxair using a shopping cart application back in 2008. Major project, and we just went all in. And it was great, and we were able to, really focus on the business. The thing with applications today is when you build apps, or you buy an app off the shelf, they're very generic. So yeah, this platform is going to work for all these companies. What we built with Topcoder is this custom application that's really centered around that company. And folks for years said, don't do customs because it's very difficult to maintain. I think it's a competitive advantage to have these customized platforms and applications. It just drives your again best in class in industry. So that's what we did. that's how I got a lot more, but it's a long story, guys. Okay.
Right? No, that's good.
Oh,
though.
we're in 2008 now, so we still have 9
Oh,
years.
yeah. Oh, okay. So then we got in a big fight with Topcoder. My boss got mad at him, threw him out.
Oh no.
I'm not sure if it happened before, but anyways, long story short.
Oh, geez, I was just joking. You didn't have to take us through the whole thing. It's just bad stuff.
And then 2016, just real quick, we were, Mike. I said, Mike, where we're having this Topcoder open? He said, well, I don't know. I don't know where we're having it. I'm like, let's try Buffalo. Let's just try a little tiny regional because we're just, we don't know much about this, and I'll never get the approval from the city of Buffalo. And we talked, and I spoke to the director, Matt Enstis, and he said, why not Buffalo? Let's do it. So that's how we got here, and I beat Mike Morris.
Yeah.
In a
RC.
Yeah, CEO of Topcoder.
We
Mike
won it
Morris.
over a pool game.
A pool game.
I said, if I make this shot, this is a true story.
And it was just like a simple tapper, huh?
Oh, it was tough. It was a
yeah?
banker shot, and we made it in, and he said, yeah, I guess we're having it here.
And now here we are.
That's right.
And that, we got to say, I mean, the city of Buffalo is treating us well, and thanks to you guys, I mean, I believe you got us into like the front page of the newspaper. We had the mayor here for the welcome ceremony. It seems like Buffalo's really excited to have us here, which we appreciate.
Yeah, I'm so overwhelmed with just everyone wants to know. Like, they're all wanting to know what is this and why are you guys here, and and how come. And the big number one question I have is anyone for Buffalo competing? I'm like, sir, there's only one person competing in the world, and he won actually yesterday.
One American.
Yeah, one American,
yeah.
but he won.
It was very exciting, actually, that match.
I wish I could have watched it, but I was watching another match.
That's true. That is true.
But yeah, that's the story.
Very cool.
Well, Sam, thanks for joining us on here.
Yeah.
Thank you for
guys.
hosting us in
Oh,
this
thanks,
extra
man.
space.
You guys are the
Amazing.
best. I appreciate
and
it.
everything that you've done to bring us here.
Thanks
and
to the community.
Bring this hospitality to us.
Oh,
we've
Well, we want to raise the bar. I mean, for the next cities, we're hoping that it's not a ginormous city. We hope it's just a city where they're going to just embrace you guys and love this and love what this is and the community. So thanks to all you ever out there in Facebook land, internet, Twitch, wherever you are.
And where can they follow you if they want to?
If they want, you can follow me.
Twitter
You can Twitter me at Esmeralzo.
That's Maraza, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Thanks again,
All right.
and have a great day.
All right, thanks everyone, and we'll be right
Punches,
back.
fists,
at
fists,
TCO.
fists.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All three of us.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks.
All right. That was a nice interview with Sam, our great sponsor. We're not muted. Don't worry about it.
Good.
We're good to
Just
go.
making sure.
I know. Nick's
We're
like, hey,
we're a two-person team here, so we got
I
to
know,
look for each other's backs.
We're wearing a lot of hats. All right, so that's going to wrap up our coverage right now. Currently in the arena, we have a lot of people getting set up for the next rounds of competition. This afternoon, we have first to finish as well as algorithm semifinal round 2. We're going to be back with coverage for that at 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's UTC -4 for all of our international viewers. So with that, we're going to sign off for now. We'll see you later. Nick, thank you as always.
Thank you. You're doing a great job.
You're doing an all right job.
Appreciate that.
He's doing awesome, and everyone can say it in Facebook too.
Wubba lubba dub dub. Let's do
All
it.
right, I'll catch you later.
See you soon.